The last time I had a demo in 36 hours, the AI was working perfectly by midnight on day one. I had a retrieval pipeline I was genuinely proud of. What I needed was a button the client could click. I spent the entire next day fighting cores between two applications I had written myself, running on the same machine, refusing to talk to each other. I shipped the demo. It worked. The client looked at it and said in front of his entire team, "This looks like something from 2009. That was the moment I decided I would never lose a demo to the wrong ecosystem again. This video is what I found. And before this video ends, I am going to build a complete AI dashboard live on screen with the timer running. It will take less time than that cores bug cost me. There is a cost that does not appear on any invoice, that no project manager tracks, and that most Python developers pay every single time they try to ship something a human can actually see. It is called the JavaScript tax. The JavaScript tax is not the JavaScript language itself. There are excellent JavaScript developers. That is not what this is about. The JavaScript tax is what you pay when you are a Python developer, a data scientist, an ML engineer, an AI builder, and the thing standing between your working model and a client's hands is an entirely separate professional discipline that you were never trained in and do not want to maintain. Setting up a React or Next.js project, managing a separate backend API, configuring cores every single time, serializing and deserializing your data objects, managing state across two runtimes, debugging communication failures between apps running on the same machine. That last one, that is not a hypothetical. With that pipeline I mentioned, the one from the failed demo, the problem was not the model. The retrieval was working, the embeddings were correct, the context window was managed carefully. The problem was that updating the screen required 3 layers of infrastructure I should never have been maintaining. A fast API server to expose the model, a React front end to call it, a cores configuration to permit them to speak. 3 separate concerns, 3 separate failure modes for one button. If you have ever Googled fast API cores allow all origins at 1 in the morning and felt slightly ashamed about it, that is the JavaScript tax, not the syntax, the shame. Right now, somewhere in your city, a Python developer with half your AI knowledge is closing a contract for a dashboard because they shipped a working interface in 2 days. They did not do that because they know React better than you. They did that because they stopped paying the JavaScript tax before you did. That is your competition. Flet is a Python framework that renders applications using Flutter's engine. You write Python, you get a cross-platform native interface. No JavaScript, no Node.js, no webpack, no cores. The question is not whether this sounds appealing. The question is whether it is actually production capable, or whether you're trading one set of compromises for another. That is what the rest of this video answers. To understand why Flet performs differently from other Python UI frameworks, you need to understand what is actually running underneath it. Flutter does not use native OS widgets. It does not use a browser. It has its own rendering engine, Impeller, formerly Skia, that draws every pixel directly to the screen at 60 frames per second. What this means for you as a Python developer is not just visual smoothness. It means your application does not depend on what the operating system decided a button should look like this year. Tkinter gives you OS native widgets. That sounds like a feature until you deploy to a client on Windows 10, a client on macOS Ventura, and your own development machine on Ubuntu, and all 3 look like different applications. PyQt is more consistent, but you are licensing a C++ framework through Python bindings, and the mental model for building reactive interfaces is not a Python mental model. Flet gives you Flutter's rendering engine with a Python API. The architecture that matters most for AI applications specifically is this. Flet communicates between your Python logic and the Flutter renderer through a persistent WebSocket connection. When you call page.update, the change goes directly to the renderer. Directly. Not through an HTTP request, not through a REST endpoint, not through a state management library making a fetch call. Directly on the screen. The first time I ran a Flet app with a real-time streaming response, I sat there for a moment trying to identify what was missing. It took me 10 seconds to realize the lag was missing. I had normalized the lag so completely I had forgotten what real-time actually looked like. For AI applications where you are streaming tokens, updating progress indicators, rendering intermediate results, this architecture is not a convenience. It is a structural advantage. You are not converting Python objects to JSON, sending them over HTTP, parsing them in JavaScript, updating a virtual DOM, and waiting for a diff to render. You are updating a variable and calling page.update. That is the entire pipeline. The reason AI demos fail is not usually the AI. It is the state. In a React application, state means something specific. It means the current values of your application's variables managed in a way the framework can track, diff, and use to determine what needs to re-render. This is a solved problem. React solves it reasonably well, but it requires a mental model that is entirely separate from Python. And when your AI logic lives in Python and your state management lives in JavaScript, you have two sources of truth. Keeping them synchronized is work. Silent, invisible, unglamorous work that will break at the worst moment. Here is what Flet's state model looks like for a streaming AI interface. 14 lines of logic, real-time streaming, native interface, cross-platform. The React equivalent of this interface, not a production application, just this interface, requires a component file, an API route, a CORS configuration, dependency management, and a build step. I counted 47 lines of code before the interface is functionally equivalent, and none of those 47 lines made the AI smarter. That is not an argument against JavaScript developers using React. React is the right tool for complex multi-team web applications. That is an argument that if you are a Python developer building an AI tool with a deadline, you are choosing between spending your remaining hours on the AI or spending them on state synchronization. Flet is the decision to spend them on the AI. Remember what I said at the beginning, that I would show you something that takes less time than a CORS bug? Watch the timer. We are building a complete AI dashboard, real streaming responses, document upload, conversation history, deployable to the web, starting from nothing. That is 3 lines of imports at the top of the file. 3, not a package.json with 47 entries. 3 imports, everything we need. Notice what you are not doing. You are not writing CSS grid. You are not writing media queries. You are not opening a browser inspector to nudge a div 2 pixels to the left. You are describing a layout in Python and Flet is placing it. The streaming loop is a Python for loop. The token counter is an integer increment. The session history is a list append. There is no serialization layer. There is no state synchronization problem. There is no question of which component owns which data. That is what 10 minutes looks like when you are not paying the JavaScript tax. I want to say something that took me longer than admit than it should have. For a long time, I treated the interface as the least interesting part of my work. The AI was the real problem, the embeddings, the retrieval strategy, the prompt engineering. That was where the intellectual work lived. The UI was just packaging. That framing cost me at least 3 demos I should have won. The interface is not packaging. The interface is the product. Everything else is infrastructure. I understood that intellectually for years before I actually believed it. The next time I had a demo with 48 hours notice, I used Flet. I finished the AI and the interface in the same file, one environment, one language, no CORS, no state synchronization across runtimes, no separate deployment pipeline. The client did not say a word about the design. He talked about the AI. That is what you want. The technical trajectory of Flet since 0.21 is instructive. Flet has shipped adaptive components, interfaces that automatically adjust their visual behavior based on whether they are running as a desktop application, a mobile application, or a web application, from the same codebase, without configuration. Mobile deployment through the Flutter pipeline is not a distant feature. It is the current direction of the framework, and the architecture that makes the rendering engine consistent across platforms is the same architecture that makes real-time streaming work the way you saw it work 8 minutes ago. Streamlit is excellent at what it does. Gradio solves a specific problem very elegantly. These are not Flet's competitors in the meaningful sense. Flet's actual competitive question is this: as Python becomes the dominant language for AI development, what fills the gap between a working model and a deployable product? Streamlit fills that gap for data exploration. Gradio fills that gap for model demos. Flet fills that gap for products. The gap Flet occupies is growing faster than either of the others because the thing the industry is producing right now is not more data explorations, it is products. AI products, built by Python developers who cannot afford 6 months of React education before they ship. By 2027, I believe Python full-stack development will be a normal job description, not a novelty or workaround. Not because Flet wins, because the alternative is too expensive for teams that are not paying full-time front-end developers. The full code from this build, every line, is in the description. Flet documentation and the official GitHub are linked. If you have been sitting on an AI project waiting for the interface problem to solve itself, it has. There is one question I have not answered, and it is the one most of you are actually thinking. If Flet is this good, why does tkinter still exist? The answer is more uncomfortable than you expect. That is the next video. Stop shipping ugly Python apps, tkinter versus Flet in 2026. Direct comparison, no fluff. Link is on screen and in the description. Stop paying the JavaScript tax.